You're walking down a quiet suburban street on a Tuesday morning when you see them. A dozen crows have gathered on a patch of grass near the sidewalk. They aren't fighting over a scrap of food. They aren't making their usual aggressive calls. They are standing in a ragged circle, perfectly still, surrounding the body of another crow that has fallen from a branch. You stop. You feel like you've accidentally walked into a room where people are praying. One by one, the crows hop closer to the body, touch it briefly with their beaks, and then retreat back into the silence. There is a weight in the air, a specific kind of gravity that you usually only feel at a funeral or in the quietest corner of a library. You find yourself holding your breath, worried that even the sound of your footsteps might break whatever this is. In that moment, you realize you are witnessing a ritual, and a ritual requires a reason. You start to wonder, what is happening in the silence of those minds? Are they just processing a biological loss? Or are they acknowledging something larger? We often assume that to believe in a higher power, you need a human brain, complex scripture, and a church. But as you watch that circle of black feathers, the idea that we are the only spiritual creatures on this planet starts to feel incredibly lonely. You start to suspect that there might be a hidden architecture of belief running through the entire natural world. We usually tell ourselves that animals live in a world of pure utility. They eat, they sleep, they survive. We assume that the God part of the brain is a uniquely human invention, a byproduct of our massive prefrontal cortex and our need to explain the unexplainable. But when you see a humpback whale breach and then float silently in the surf, or watch a cat stare intently at an empty corner of a room, that explanation starts to feel a little thin. You start to sense that there might be a hidden conversation happening all around you, a spiritual language that doesn't require words to speak. To understand if a creature can believe in something it can't see, we have to look at the mechanical why behind your own faith. Scientists call this agency detection. Think of it as a background process running on your brain's hard drive. Its job is to make sure you don't die. If you hear a rustle in the tall grass, your brain doesn't think, that's probably just the wind. It thinks, something is in there and it wants me. You are biologically wired to assume that things happen because someone or something intended them to happen. It's why you get mad at your laptop when it crashes, even though you know it doesn't have feelings. Anthropologist Dr. Barbara J. King at the College of William and Mary has spent years looking for the roots of this behavior in the animal kingdom. She argues that religion doesn't start with a book or a set of rules. It starts with belongingness and the recognition of a presence. She's documented how elephants interact with the remains of their dead. They don't just walk past the bones. They stop. They use their trunks to gently stroke the ivory, often in total silence, sometimes for hours. They aren't looking for food. They aren't guarding territory. They are responding to the memory of a presence. For the elephant, the world isn't just a collection of objects. It's a map of relationships and ghosts. This is the foundation of the divine, the feeling that the world has a deeper, invisible layer. But belief isn't just about reacting to the past. It's about a specific kind of physical experience. You know that feeling when you're listening to a piece of music and you get the chills? Or when you're looking at a mountain range and you feel both tiny and incredibly significant at the same time? Scientists call that awe. And it turns out we aren't the only ones who get it. Primatologist Jane Goodall famously observed what she called the waterfall dance in Gombe. She watched chimpanzees approach a massive, thundering waterfall, a force of nature that is both dangerous and beautiful. Instead of running away, the chimps would enter a sort of trance. They would swing on vines over the water, throw stones, and then simply sit on a damp rock, watching the waterfall for long stretches of time. Goodall suggested that these animals were experiencing a precursor to religious ritual. They were being overwhelmed by a power they couldn't control or understand. When you look at the research of psychologist Dr. Dacher Keltner at UC Berkeley, he finds that awe is a survival mechanism. It makes us feel connected to a group and humbles our ego so we can cooperate. If a chimp can feel that same soul-crushing beauty in a waterfall, then the chimp is experiencing the raw materials of what we call a religious experience. They might not have a name for the creator of the water, but they are clearly feeling the weight of the creation.
This changes the way you look at your own life, because if these spiritual feelings are actually ancient biological tools, it means your sense of wonder isn't just a hobby, it's a vital part of your hardware. Right now, your brain is using that same agency detection and that same capacity for awe to help you navigate your day. It's why you feel a gut instinct about a person you just met. It's why you feel a strange sense of peace when you're gardening or walking through a park. You are tapping into a sensory system that has been humming along for millions of years, long before the first temple was ever built. You often feel like your spiritual self and your animal self are at war with each other, but the science suggests they are the exact same thing. Your capacity to believe in something bigger, to feel that there is a why behind the what, is a gift from your ancestors. It's the tool that allowed us to form tribes, to care for our sick, and to look at the stars with curiosity instead of just fear. When you see your dog staring at the moon, or a bird singing at the first light of dawn, you aren't seeing a simple creature. You're seeing a fellow traveler who is also trying to make sense of the vast, beautiful mystery we're all living in. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question. It's not about whether a dog can recite a prayer or if a whale thinks about heaven. It's about the fact that we all share a brain that is designed to find meaning in the silence. The next time you feel that sudden, unexplained sense of wonder, don't just brush it off as a human quirk. Realize that you're participating in a conversation that includes the elephants, the chimpanzees, and the birds. You are part of a planet-wide ritual of noticing the world. If this perspective made you feel a little more connected to the life around you, consider subscribing. We're here to help you see the hidden architecture of your own experience, and to remind you that being human is just one way of being alive.